Right, I'm trying to nip this up to 20 foot-pound, so I'll get the socket on that side to hold it. Right, so that's your 20 foot-pound, and then what I'll do is I'll just turn the adjuster on this side to shove the wheel backwards to put a bit of tension on. I don't know if you'll be able to see, but the adjuster's turning, and it'll get to a point where it starts to pull the wheel backwards. Right, that's still slack at the minute, and what I want to do now is I'm just going to put my shocks on, because I want to lift it up so the back wheel's off the ground, then I can set the belt tension. You don't want to try and do a rear wheel alignment without having your belt tension done. So we'll get that sorted. So I'll just knock it off for a minute, get my shocks, give them a wipe over, and then I'll come back and we'll carry on. So I'm just going to quickly do off camera, but I thought I'd show you. These clips, these are off the swing arm, and I actually meant to put these on before I put the back wheel in, and I fucking forgot. It's the ones that hold the brake line onto the swing arm. Now if you go back to where I had the swing arm off, there was these two clips on, and I showed you after I took them off there was the little bits that stick up off the swing arm. Well, basically they just push down. They've got this like little shape to them, so you push that flat onto the swing arm, and then you just push them T-shaped bits in, and it clips into place. They just come apart, clips back together, and that holds your brake line in place on the swing arm. So I'm just going to quickly put them on. I'll do it, pointless me trying to show you because I'm going to be in there, you won't see a thing. Like, as you can see, I've got one of the, well, I've got the other shock back on because the other side I hadn't took off, apart from the bottom mount. So I've just sort of screwed it on ready. I'll get these on, then I'll lower the bike down, I'll screw the bottom on, and then when I come back I'll actually have the wheel up in the air and we'll get this belt tension set. So I'll be back soon. Right, I've altered position. Hoping you can see, yeah. And we're gonna basically set the belt deflection. So what I need to do is get myself in a position, is just spin the back wheel and look for the slackest part. That's actually probably there, and then I'm going to put a ruler up the back of this, just so it's, if I can get the fucker to stay still, so that I can see how far it's travelling. Now what you want to be doing, or should I say what the tension you want is in between 3/8 and 1/4 of an inch. Sorry, 3/16 and 1/4 of an inch of belt deflection, sort of in the middle of this run. So you want that. Use your belt gauge, set your £10, and then now when I start to push, I'm hoping right, that's my £10. Just go back. So that's sat on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's sat on 15/16. So if I push that up until it hits, it's now sat on 1, 2, 3. So 7/16. So that's actually moving 8/16, which is ½ inch. So I need to tighten the belt up. So just put your socket on. Now it doesn't need to go massively to take the tension up. So just alter it in little steps at a time, because otherwise you're going to have to slacken it back off, loosen your wheel to pull it back, to push it forward or whatever. Right, so now that's on, that's basically on exactly 15 inch on there. Just a tiny touch more. And as I say, the tiniest movement on your adjuster, this is where when I talked it up before to 20 foot-pound, this is why. It's enough that you can still turn it to adjust it, but it's tight enough that it won't like spring back on itself. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and pull this rule in a bit closer now to where I'm actually adjusting it without it falling over. Would help if the fucking carpet didn't have a hump in it. Right. Come on, you fucking ass. Right, that's will do for me. Put it in sort of mid and go from that point, which is 15. And that is absolutely spot on the 1/4 inch. So now we've tensioned that up, we just need to torque the nut up to the correct setting, obviously, and also I need to put my belt guard back on. So what I'll do is I might put the belt guard back on first, because I'm on this side anyways. Just knock this torch off, and yeah, I'll put the belt guard back on first, and then we'll go around the other side and I'll set the torque wrench up, the big one, and we'll torque the back wheel nut up to what it's meant to be and get the clip back on, and then we'll continue on from there. So I'll be back in a minute. Right, I'm going to put the belt guard on. Now, on the underside of the swing arm, I've screwed one of the bolts in, because it fits in, it pops through that hole and then pushes into there, and it's in like a recess. The other ones are uncovered, so you can just put the screw straight through. So feed it over the belt and then get myself in a position. I'll tell you what I'll do first. I'll get myself a 17/16 spanner so that I can tighten it up. Right, so I've got a spanner for that front one, and basically what you do is you just line it up and then pull it back so it's hooked into the swing arm bit, and then just get your where you at, you fucker. And then just get your bolts started on the back two. And then just tighten the front one up. As I say, with it being in the recess, it's a little bit awkward, but it's not the end of the world. You just nip that one up. And don't tighten it straight away. Oh, I'm just getting a bit comfortable position. Yeah, as I say, don't fully tighten this one until you've got the back ones nipped up. And then you know it's in sort of the right position. Now the threads on this, I actually ran a tap up them when I first got the swing arm back, just to make sure there wasn't any powder coat in the threads. Just make sure that's in such a place that it's not catching your belt. And then tighten them up. So I'll just nip them up lightly to start with. And just give the wheel a bit of a turn, just to make sure that the belt isn't rubbing the side of the belt guard. I thought I had that front one nipped up. Obviously I didn't. I've now. And as you can hear, the belt's not catching the belt guard, so I'll just nip these up. so they don't vibrate out. Right, that's spot on. So what I'll do now is I'll knock you off, move you to the other side, and we'll get the back wheel torqued up. So I'll be back in a minute. Right, I've set the torque wrench to 105 foot-pound, and what I've put a socket on the other side with a breaker bar on it. That's why I'm going slowly, I don't want it to fall off. And basically, just torque the... I'll try to hold the back of the bike down as well so I don't lift it off the ramp, off the lift. That's just moved. Bastard. Gonna quickly check something. That was lucky. That's the one downside to when you tighten these up, that if you tighten it and it turns the axle, it adjusts your fucking belt tension. So I just quickly checked it. There is a gauge on the belt guard. Right, change position. Right, so that's your rear wheel torqued up. Well, it's my rear wheel torqued up. Give it a bit of spin. And what I'll do again, now that that's torqued up, what I'll do before I do all else, I'll just take the pressure off this torque wrench. Yeah, I'm just going to double check the belt tension again. Find the slackest spot in the belt. And then just recheck it. When I checked it before, after the socket fell off the other side, it was still spot on. So I'm just going to check it again, make sure it's okay, and we'll go from there. Make sure that your things on your line, on your £10. Turn the wheel, turn it backwards actually. Well, not backwards, it'll turn it the way it's meant to be done. That's the slack spot in the belt. Get the little gauge on. And the tension's okay still, which is good. Right, what I'm going to do now is I'll knock you off. I'm going to drop the bike back down on the floor, put it on its stand, as in its side stand, and put the lift in the other side, so that when I start doing my alignment, the lift isn't actually in the way. So I'll be back soon. Just a quickie before I do anything else. Actually, put the clip back on the axle. Let's see if I can actually push this on this time. A screwdriver or something just to push it. In fact, I'll use them, which will just pull it. Make sure it's all in the slot where it's meant to be. And that's in. Oh yeah, don't forget to put your circlip on the end. Right, back soon. Right, I've got the bike set up, as you can see there, level. I've got the front wheel set, you can see there, 90 degrees, and the back wheel has switched its fucking cell off. Switch that back on, and as you can see there, 90 degrees. So the bike's level. Now, I won't lie, I got it levelled up. I put the top adjuster back in, and it was quarter of a degree out. It was on 89.75, and I adjusted it, but I forgot to put the fucking camera on. So I have adjusted the top adjuster to get the back wheel to sit at 90. The front wheel is obviously at 90, so that's level. I've got my lasers on, because I've gone to lasers now. I watched a video about, fucking hell, must be 4-5 years ago, maybe even. Let's grab me smack. Where a guy did all his alignments using laser lines. And ever since then I thought, oh, I must try that, I must try that. Obviously years later I've finally got round to doing it. Now I've done two. I did a Road King and an older one of these, which I used the string line and then set the lasers up afterwards, and basically according to the lasers I was within half a degree on each, you know, on the alignment, so it's pretty close. So what I'm going to do is, for the lasers to be seen down, as you can see there, a bit of paper, well, a bit of card, it looks like just a thick line, but if I go in, it's equally spaced lines, and that's the lines I use to help me line it up. Rather than messing about with tape measures and seeing how far off I am, it's easier to do it that way. So what I'll do is I'll knock you off a minute, get you set up on the tripod. I'm going to close the garage door so it's darker in here, so I can see the lasers on the paper, and then I'll come back. Right, I've switched the lasers on, lined them up to the lines. The laser that's closest to the inside of the bike, there's something stopping it. Like the back one, you can see it goes nearly right across the board, but the front one doesn't. So whether it needs to be lower, but there was the same on the other two that I did. So I've lined that laser up with the first line, and I can see that the it's out, so it needs adjusted. So what I want to do is go around. Basically, if you're sat on the bike, the front needs to go Right, I'm just going to pull this. I had a board behind the bike just to soak when I was lining the light up. The front of the engine, if you were sat on the bike, needs to go to the right. So it's just off that line there, going in, so it wants to come a little bit more. And what I need to keep doing is checking the front disc. That's still at 90 degrees. The only downside is these levels keep switching themselves off. That's at 90 degrees. That's still at 0. So, where are we at now? Well, at one end of the line, oh actually, fucking it's out of line. Oh, that's better. Right, so where are we at now? It's in the middle there. Stays pretty much on it. To the middle of that one. The adjustments I'm doing doesn't take a lot. Yeah, I just had this odd feeling that I was actually turning it the wrong way. And looking at that, another couple of turns and that should be about bob on. That is fucking perfect. So, I'll just quickly check. Where's the front torch gone? Right, so that's back to 90. Check me alignment on there. That's on 0. And the rear's altered slightly, but I'd expect that because I'm moving the front across, the top will not move. But that's a simple adjustment. I'm just going to move the camera a bit because I just want to get as close as I can to this line, just to make sure it is actually, if you're using lasers, make sure you've got fucking good eyes. I'm just going to, that first line there is absolutely spot on, and the other line is running right up the centre. So yeah, that's bob on at that. Right, I'm just going to knock you off for a minute, and then I'll come back. Right, I've locked these adjusters in place. What I wanted to show you is when you've got all your alignment done and everything's right, what you should have is these mounting bolts should be loose, and that means there's no sort of preloading on the engine mount. Let's get paint flaking off it. Yeah, so you should be able to move that freely, and you should be able to move that freely. They're two mounting bolts. So if you can do that after your alignment, you know you've got it right. If you can't move that bolt at all, it means that you've got that rubber under tension. And what you should do is grab a lever, is every now and then while you're doing your alignment, is just, where the fuck am I? Just stick a bar under, like, you know, like that even, and just basically lift without, it's awkward doing it with one hand, but basically just lever it so that you can lift the engine. You can see that moving there. Now that won't move the engine and alter anything because these are tight in place, but as you can see, it frees everything up, because when you adjust it, it's moving this thing about, and if it, with the weight of the engine on the mounting, it can actually push the mounting across. So, and as I say, put a lever underneath, just take the pressure off, and it allows the mounting to centralise itself, so to speak. But that's, as I say, that's what you want to end up with, loose. So I'll tighten them up in a second. But another interesting thing is I was just having a bit of a breather, and I got a ruler, that one there, and I measured from my tyre, from the tyre there to the edge of this chrome bit on both sides, and it's the same, 27mm on each side. So that says something when that's lined up. Means that the wheel's sitting in the middle of the mudguard. So right, what I'm going to do now is I won't film it. I'm just going to lower the bike down and mount the bottom of the shocks back on. And I don't think I'll be doing much else today. But yeah, I'll lower the bike down, get the shocks bolted back on, and when I come back we'll carry on getting this thing back together. Right, catch you later. Right, put the shocks back on, and I was just looking at the dirty bolts, rusty bolts. So we're just going to see if I've got any. They're an odd size, these. I think they're 1/2 inch by, looking at them, I'd say 1/2 inch by 13 They're not a normal. Plus, the lock washer's losing its spring. So I'll have a ratch. See if I've got any. Yeah, when you look at that, it's a bit grubby. So hopefully washers. Well, that's handy. Got washers, so if all else fails I can change the washer. Spring washers. Well, as long as I've got a chucky old one over there, looks like I have. Got 4 new spring washers, and hopefully half-inch. They're no fucking good. Oh. Same thread. Marine grade stainless as well. Let's make sure that's. Yep. So I've got more of them. 2. 3. Watch this, I'll only have fucking 3. Oh, what's that? Awesome. That's handy. I need to sort out all these fucking bolts and put them in the right fucking boxes. Ugh. So, this is all stainless by the way as well. So what I'll do is I'll get them all thinged up and put some yeah, I think that'll look a little bit better. Looks like they're all the same as well. Yeah, they are. These are all A4 marine grade stainless, which is almost make the strong stuff, if you know what I mean. Yeah, it'll definitely look fucking better than that anyway. So what I'll do is I'll just quickly, if I can find where I've put it, put some anti-seize on these. It also stops the reaction. As I say, I can figure out where I've fucking put it. There she is. Do the one for now. So I put some of that greasy tackle on, and what it'll do, it'll stop the reaction between the metals. It's not normally too bad into steel, it's more aluminium where you want to put a coating on it. Snip them up for now, it looks loads fucking better. These need torqued up as well when I'm done. I mean, that one's not too bad, but it's still looks grubby compared to the new ones. Oops. Right, so now I've shown you that, I'll do the other side as well, and then I'll torque them up, and then we'll see, we'll go from there. Catch you later.